All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to break down a really powerful way to think about financial independence. It's a journey that doesn't start in your bank account, but actually starts in your mind. And it's all based on the real story of an engineer who completely flipped his financial reality.
So let's just kick things off with a question I think pretty much all of us have asked ourselves at some point. Is the steady job we have a solid foundation for the future we want, or does it sometimes feel a little more like a cage?
This very question was at the center of Tamir Hacham's life for decades. For years and years, he was a salaried engineer, just following that path so many of us know.
He talks about his early career in a way that's just so relatable. It was a simple cycle, right? The goal was just making it to the next paycheck. The whole idea of financial freedom, it wasn't some distant dream. It wasn't even on his radar. But then, at 45, everything changed. A single book completely sparked a revolution in his thinking. He made a very conscious choice to shift from an employee's mindset to an owner's mindset. And get this is the key. He didn't quit his job. Nope. He used it as his economic anchor. It was the stable income that gave him the security to learn, to try things, and to start building something on the side.
So that shift in his thinking, it led him to his very first and honestly, his most important realization. This is the mental hurdle that stops most people before they even get started.
Okay, think about the word wealth. What pops into your head? For a lot of people, it's these giant, almost unattainable fantasies, Yachts, private jets, a life with zero problems. And that image is so big, so far away, that it can feel completely overwhelming. It just makes us want to give up.
And this is where the contrast is so important. On one side, you've got wealth, which is this fuzzy, paralyzing dream. But on the other side, you have financial independence, and that is something totally different. It's not a fantasy. It's a clear, mathematical goal. It's not about being rich. It's simply about being not dependent. So here it is. This is the actual achievable goal. It's so simple and drama-free. Financial independence is just the point where the income from your assets pays for your life. That's it. That's the whole thing. And that is what frees you from being dependent on a salary, a boss, or the job market.
Okay, so with that new clarity, we can move to the first real step on this path. And I really want to stress this. This journey doesn't start with spreadsheets or picking stocks. It starts right here, in your mind, by changing your core financial identity.
Think of it like this. Most of us are running on the employee mindset operating system. And in that mode, saving money feels like a sacrifice, right? Like you're giving something up. But watch what happens when you switch over to the owner mindset. Suddenly, saving isn't a loss. It's buying raw materials. Every single dollar becomes another brick you can use to build the machine that's going to produce your freedom.
So how does this all connect? Well, once you adopt this new owner identity, the next step is just completely logical. If you're building a machine, you need a blueprint, right? You need to know exactly what that machine is supposed to produce.
This is the point where we shift from that survival mode, just trying to make it through the month, to actually actively designing the life we really want. And we do that by asking one incredibly powerful question.
Let's make this super practical. Let's talk about someone, we'll call her Dana, who's 35. She followed this exact process. First, she just visualized her ideal week. What does that look like? Maybe it's calm mornings, time for a passion project, more time with her family. Then, she priced out her essentials, priced her vision, and finally, and this part is absolutely critical, she added a safety buffer. And at the end of all that, Dana had her number. Let's say it's $6,000 a month, after taxes. This is the moment a vague dream becomes a concrete target. And this number, it has immense power. It becomes your compass for every single financial decision. The question completely changes from, can I afford this, to something much more powerful. Does this get me closer to my number?
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit and see how these two huge mental steps fit into the bigger picture. Because they aren't just standalone ideas, they are the absolute foundation of a much larger strategy.
So those two steps we just covered, separating independence from wealth and shifting your identity, that's the entire first stage of this three-stage roadmap. Think of it as the concrete slab that everything else gets built on. Only after that foundation is rock solid can you effectively move on to stage 2, building financial resilience, and then finally stage 3, which is building the assets that will actually generate your freedom.
And all of this leaves us with a final thought to really chew on. What if the biggest thing holding us back from our own financial freedom isn't the number in our bank account, but the old, inherited stories we're still telling ourselves about what money, security, and work are supposed to mean?